and he deserves a lot of criticism. But, you know, in the technical sense, in the economic definition of what a socialist, no, he's not a socialist. What he is a corporatist. And unfortunately, we have corporatists in the Republican Party, and that means you take care of corporations, and corporations take over and run the country. We see that in the financial institution. We see it in the military-industrial complex.
When you go to other countries, the political divisions are so much more stark and wider. Here in America, the difference between Democrats and Republicans, we're fighting inside the 40-yard line. A lot of them want to reform entitlements to make sure that they're affordable for the next generation. So do I. A lot of them say they want to reform our tax system. So do I. There are going to be differences on the details. And those details matter, and I'll fight very hard for them, but we shouldn't think that somehow the reason we've got these problems is because our policy differences are so great.
Between the two of you on Social Security?
You know, I suspect that on Social Security we've got a somewhat similar position. Social Security is structurally sound. It's going to have to be tweaked the way it was by Ronald Reagan and Democratic Speaker Tip O'Neill. But it is, the basic structure is sound. But I want to talk about the values behind Social Security and Medicare. And then talk about Medicare, because that's the big driver of our deficits right now.
The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq have cost the United States between $2.3 and $2.6 trillion, and that's not counting another $1 trillion in obligations to veterans during the next 40 years.
Along with defense and interest on the national debt, the biggest cost drivers in our budget are entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, all of which get more and more expensive every year. So, if we want to get serious about fiscal discipline, and I do, then we're going to not only have to trim waste out of our discretionary budget, which we've already begun, we will also have to get serious about entitlement reform.
I realize that tax reform and entitlement reform will not be easy. The politics will be hard for both sides. None of us will get 100% of what we want. But the alternative will cost us jobs, hurt our economy, visit hardship on millions of hard-working Americans. So let's set party interests aside and work to pass a budget that replaces reckless cuts with smart savings and wise investments in our future. And let's do it without the...
Has been too much discussion in this country, not just from Republicans, but from Democrats alike, that we should be making cuts in Social Security. That is wrong. Don't let anybody kid you. Social Security today has a $2.6 trillion surplus. Social Security can pay out every benefit owed to every eligible American for the next 25 years. Social Security has not contributed 1 penny to the deficit, and I will be damned if they're going to cut Social Security.
seriously again.
President Obama will nominate his chief of staff over at the White House, Jack Lew, to be the next Treasury Secretary.
It's going to be his signature right at the bottom of all of our currency. It will look something like this.
That's your signature? Or are you just testing to see if the pen works? Hey, Blue, here's a tip. Stop signing all your checks on the teacup ride at Disney World. The only way that you're allowed to have that as your signature is if your name is...
Now, there's a few good people left on Capitol Hill. One of them, Elizabeth Warren, and she said trade agreements such as TPP provide a chance for these banks to get something done quietly out of sight that they could not accomplish in a public place with the cameras rolling and the lights on. She's, of course, very right about that. The banks care a lot about this because there's a million little goodies in there for them. And look, that's the corporations who are designing these deals. They're the ones not paying taxes. So, how do they get away with it? How do they do it? Well, I'll give you examples. Michael Froman is our U.S. trade representative. Well, okay, good for Michael Froman, okay? And, of course, as our current trade representative, I'm sure that he's totally unbiased. Oh, look at that. That's weird. He actually came from Citigroup. Okay, that's fine. You can come from anywhere you like, right? But as he was leaving Citigroup to go to the government, you know what he got? A $4 million exit payment. And as Republic Report explains in an excellent report on this, Citigroup provides an executive contract that awards additional retirement pay upon leaving to take a full-time, high-level position with the U.S. government or regulatory body. If you think that's bad, wait till you see who's been nominated for Department of Commerce position. It's Stefan Selig. And how much did he get as he was leaving Bank of America? A $9 million bonus. Oh, that wasn't enough. That's on top of the $5.1 million that he got in compensation in his last year. So he was incentivized properly with the $5 million, and then on his way out, they're like, oh, you're going to the Commerce Department. Here's another bag of money, $9 million.
And understand this, if American workers are being denied their right to organize and collectively bargain when I'm in the White House, I'll put on a comfortable pair of shoes myself. I'll walk on that picket line with you as President of the United States of America. Because workers deserve to know that somebody's standing in their corner. The reason you have that safeguard is because we don't always have the right person. We don't always catch the right person. We may think this is Mohammed the terrorist. It might be Mohammed the cab driver. You may think it's Barack the bomb thrower, but it might be Barack the guy running for president.
Guantanamo, and we are going to restore habeas corpus, because we're not a nation that locks people up without charging them. We are not a nation that sends prisoners off in the dead of night to other countries to be tortured. That is not who we are. We are America, and we stand for something.
I wrote the brief for the federal law, the federal Whistleblowers law, to make sure that it applied in more situations. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won. So I know a little bit about whistleblowing and making sure that those folks get protection.
There's a great article at Truth Out where John Cusack interviews law professor Jonathan Turley. They discuss the constitutionality of the use of drone strikes on American citizens on foreign soil and collateral damage, the imprisonment of citizens without due process, and how the liberal media has given a pass to the Obama administration on these issues, including redefining torture as coercive interrogation techniques. This administration has violated the same types of international laws, such as invading Pakistan to kill one of its citizens against their wishes, that the U.S. has gone after dictators for in the past. The Obama administration has gone as far as giving blanket cover to CIA operatives while prosecuting whistleblowers like Bradley Manning. If the Republicans had carried signs and shouted about killing a fugitive without due process, liberals would have been up in arms. But has the Obama administration set a new and terrifying precedent by expanding executive powers while liberals sit back and cheerlead his toughness? I'll provide a link to the article in the description.
Terrorism address of his second term. His comments came one day after Attorney General Eric Holder confirmed U.S. drone strikes had killed 4 American citizens in Yemen and Pakistan.
And before any strike is taken, there must be near certainty that no civilians will be killed or injured. The highest standard we can set. Yes, the conflict with al-Qaeda, like all armed conflict, invites tragedy. But by narrowly targeting our action against those who want to kill us and not the people they hide among, we are choosing the course of action least likely to result in the loss of innocent life.
That was President.
And as we do, we can't lose sight of the fact that real change won't come from Washington. It'll come the way it's always come, from you.